Hey friends, I'm Leslie.
Hey guys, I'm Marianne.
And I'm Angie. Together, we are the therapists of Eden Therapy Co., and we are inviting you to have a seat at Eden's table.
Coming to you live from Miami, we believe in healing hearts, shining the light, and bridging the gap in mental health. Come sit with us as we learn, laugh, and explore how faith and mental health collide.
Hey guys. Hi. You all don't understand how stressed I've been.
Why is that?
I don't know. Just sometimes it just gets so stressed out. What about you guys?
It's been stressing. It's been stressful.
What's been stressing, Ivana?
Lifey.
I can't relate. I'm sorry.
Miss Chill over here.
No, I'm kidding. I just don't think I experienced it the way you do.
So today we wanted to help you all out by talking about our stress personality. Who knew that we had a personality when it comes to stress?
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I wouldn't have either.
I love a personality test.
Oh my gosh, remember when they used to have like those magazines that would be like, what type of color are you? And you had
Oh my
to, like,
gosh.
fill it out.
Yes.
You're not.
What makes you say that?
So today we wanted to go over briefly the stress personalities, and let's see, maybe as a listener you could figure out, like, what do you relate to? How do you respond when it comes to stress?
Yes.
Yeah, I think most people think that, oh, this is just how I am. This is like my personality type. And actually, it is impacted by stress. And you do have, it's not necessarily all of who you are, but it may be the way that you manage and handle or respond to stress.
So Leslie, what's the first type of stress personality?
So there are actually 5 different types of stress personalities. The first one is the overfunctioner. So this is the go, 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 get everything done, taking control, which ends up having like high functioning anxiety, you know, in trying to just complete all the tasks ever to exist.
Wow. The next personality type would be the people pleaser. And this is the person that will do everything for somebody else. You kind of lose yourself and you just want to do for other people so that you don't have to have any conflicts. And usually it's driven by a lot of fear.
The other stress personality is the avoider. So basically pretends it's not happening. It's not real. Just really avoids the reality of things. Disassociates. So maybe takes a scroll break while everything's exploding in the background. But it's just you kind of numb out. You disassociate a little.
I love that.
So they come across as like really chill.
Oh, look at that.
You identify.
D&D, dissociate and deny.
Or do not disturb.
There we go. The 3 Ds.
The next one is the perfectionist, which is they freeze, they overthink, they're paralyzed by standards. So if it's not perfect, then I'm failing. If I can't do it at 100%, then what's the point? Then 0 feels better. It's harder to find that in between.
And the last one is the fixer. So this is the one that takes on everyone else's problems and fixes it. Which you end up avoiding your own emotions in doing that. So
Little Miss Fix.
yeah.
All right, guys. So who do you identify with? Which personality type do you identify with?
All of them.
Which is so funny because I was reading through this and I'm like, I don't identify with any. But then like there's some features of like the avoider. But it's like, you're like all of them. And I'm like, all of them? How do you identify with all of them? But yes, I think I'm just avoidant.
What I was saying was, for me, it's dependent on situation.
Yeah.
Like in some situations, I might want to be more perfectionistic. In other ones, I have to jump in and become an overfunctioner or a fixer, depending on like what's happening. So I like to see myself as I flow through the states of the stress personalities.
Yeah.
I would say the same, and I think who's involved in the stressful situation plays a part, like what's my role within who's involved. So
Yeah.
I would agree. Like sometimes I think I definitely go fixer mode, but depending on the situation, then I might go a little perfectionist.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like for me, I think I vary between 2, but they're pretty consistent, you know, which is like people please or perfectionist. Like I can maybe go into like all of the other ones, but for the most part, like those 2 are like the go modes for me.
Yeah.
They get activated real quick.
So you're saying that they get activated real quick. how do these stressed personalities get formed?
Patterns.
Childhood.
Right.
Environment.
Yeah.
So also depending on what you saw as far as parents and like how they responded to stress or anxiety, right? Like when you're really stressed, do you stay calm and carry on?
Yeah.
Or do you freak out and jump into one of these automatically without really thinking like, where am I going?
Yeah.
Which is so funny. I'm thinking just like relationship wise, like depending on your stress personality, you tend to like choose the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have like the avoider, you're probably gonna go for somebody who's like the fixer or like that jumps in like
Yeah.
the over functioner. So it's like funny. It's like depending on what pairings your parents were, it's probably
Yeah.
how you are.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like I'm so glad we're talking about this because calm doesn't exist in a Cuban household. Like nobody handles stress in a calm manner in a Cuban household. So I think like you can see, like I could picture now like just childhood moments where I can see like all of these personality types coming up and like my mom, my grandmother, like it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say family culture is a big part of how your stress personality forms.
Yeah.
Like there's that saying like, oh, when she's under pressure, she's like a chicken with her head cut off. Like
Yes.
and so I can bring visuals of people who are like that in my family. Or like don't like during chaos or stress, like she's not showing up. You know?
Yeah.
So I think like during family culture, you take your role and you take like, your position.
For sure.
Kind of like you balance each other out, like Marianne was saying, and then it rolls over into even like relational, like romantically. Like, what's
For
your
sure.
style?
Yeah.
I think before when there were big events or big things, my personality changes a little bit because, well, before it used to change a lot where I would just go into like tunnel vision of I have to get this done and it has to look this way and it has to be this way. And even to the point where friends would be like, are you okay? And I'd be like, yes, I just have to get this task done. I got to do it. And I would get so activated as far as like the stress it just felt like it was so much. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that I know that during time, as time passes by, what we start learning is that everything is going to get done. It's one step at a time.
Yeah.
We can stop and take a deep breath. And that urgency, it comes from activation of childhood wounds for sure. You know, like it has to get done and it has to get done right now. Like, I think we see it a lot with teenagers where the parents are like, they don't do the dishes. It's like, well, do they not do the dishes or do they not do the dishes when you want them to do the dishes? Because sometimes we just need a little bit of time before we engage in that task.
Yeah.
You know, so it's interesting to see the evolution of stress over time and how we handle it as we get older.
Yeah. I also think it's become like more normalized. I think people are so quick to put like no, but they're lazy, like label on it. But I'm like, no, that also can just means like they work at a slower pace and that's okay. Like if that's what works for them.
Right. Or I could say like they don't care, like the avoider. Yeah. Like it just comes across as like, oh, whatever, like they're just unbothered.
Unfazed.
Marianne, are you unbothered and don't care?
Personally, I don't think that's the case.
I love that too, though, because of the labels. Like, I'm like, oh my God, that person's not stressed out. They don't care. They're just they're detached. I don't think that's true. I think it's just that they handle stress differently. Their brain handles stress differently. And so I think, like, taking the moment to understand each other's stress personalities and not take it personal.
Yeah.
Like, just because they don't react to stress the way
That's
that
really
you
Yeah.
That's really good.
So let's talk about our nervous system and our reactions to stress or to perceived threat. And stress is many times a perceived threat, right? Stress is there's an urgency. We have to get this done. Like this has to happen, right?
Yeah.
And so in our nervous system, the way we deal with stress that comes is fight, flight, freeze, and sometimes fawn. So what do you guys think about as we meld the personality type into the types of responses that we have?
Yeah, I mean, like the fighter is just like gets after it, you know? So I could see like not just fighting in terms of like fighting against people, but fighting forward to do
action.
whatever needs to get done, taking action.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's good.
Right.
That to me highlights like the overfunctioner.
Yes.
You know, like ready to go, take on control, let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like flight would be like the avoider. Like, I'm out of here. You lost me.
Right. It's just like, this is too much for me. We need a little mental break.
But also it could be freeze, right? Because
Yes.
you just stop and you're paralyzed and you just don't want to go anywhere. You don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of like,
Procrastination.
procrastination is
Yeah.
procrastinating. It may seem that way, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we're kind of getting to. It could seem that way, but the truth is maybe you're in a freeze response.
Yeah,
right?
which
Yeah.
is also connected to the perfectionist, where it's just like they freeze because if I don't feel like I could do things, things can be done at 100%.
Yeah.
And they're going to come out perfect. And it's almost like
Yeah.
I'm paralyzed
Yeah.
by the standards of whatever it is, wherever
Yeah.
it's coming from.
Yeah. Fawning is literally people pleasing. So it's crazy how these are all tied to like our nervous system. Mm-hmm.
Well, because our nervous system is wired when we're little and all the pruning that's taking place and that happening within the context of family or within the context of mom. And if we think about a mom having like postpartum depression or being really anxious, like that is going to affect the nervous system, not in a damaging way, because we can learn to regulate our own nervous systems as we get older, but everything has an impact, right?
Yeah. And none of these stress responses are bad necessarily. Like, I don't want anybody that's like listening to be like, oh my God, I'm this way. It needs to change. Like, no, I think you just need to become more aware of it. And okay, what do we do with that?
Yeah.
You know, we manage it differently. Oh, I can recognize this is kind of what's coming up for me. This is what's going on. Maybe I could take a beat. I can pause.
I think historically we've thought of fight, flight, freeze, and fawn as trauma responses, which is like a big T trauma response, obvious. But we have to remember also that kind of like to destigmatize our nervous system responses because it is stress related, right?
Yeah.
I mean, trauma is stress related, but those responses, they're in our brainstem. They're part of our reptilian brain. Like they have been there from the beginning of time. And one of the things that I love is that through time, we develop our frontal cortex, which is where we can start reflecting and not reacting. Yep. Right.
I love that because it's kind of like the awareness and the reflection helps you break the loop of the stress cycle that you've been in. So to your point, Angie, like you were like, I kept being in this same way, showing up or reacting in the same way when I was stressed. And then you're like, wait, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And then that's really what the brain does. Like, and it finds a new way to handle and regulate your nervous system.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things that I love about what you're saying, Ivana, is that like we have highways in our brain. That's the way that I describe it. And if we've had one stress response all the time, like we've been traveling down that highway for a really long time, so the groove has been set in your nervous system. And so I always say we have to get off on an exit and create a new road. And that's kind of what you're talking about is this new road. And I only say that because I think sometimes people get really like, oh, I should know this or I should have it done perfectly. And it's like, no, dude, you've been doing the same thing for like how long? It's going to take time to develop that new road.
Yeah. It's good. So how do we heal our nervous system and respond to stress differently?
Okay. I mean, there's definitely coping mechanisms, things that we can do, different practices that we can take, like maybe things to like ground and pause and be able to separate ourselves from like the overwhelming emotion of the moment. So taking a break and doing some breathing exercises is a good one. Maybe taking a break and doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method and you look around 5 things, like activating your senses.
Grounding tool. It's good.
Yes.
Which we have on our website for free at Helping Hearts.
Yeah.
In case you want some of those. What
Yes.
else can be done if we notice that our nervous system is activated?
I mean, I think changing our environment, so maybe getting some movement in, going for a walk,
Good. So good.
taking your environment, just kind of taking yourself out of the stressful,
Yeah.
getting some movement in.
Yeah.
I think from like a faith perspective, there's a verse that says, be still and know that I am God. A lot of times it's easier for me to be like, nope, Lord, like you're in control. I kind of handing over the control, not in an avoiding kind of way, but more in a, I don't have to carry this load on my own. Like he's got it. So being able to offload it to Jesus and kind of be like, handle this for a little bit.
Yeah. Which is a good thing. I think even like in that, like it's being, even I think like sharing that with somebody, like sometimes I'll wake up and I'm like, I have a laundry list of things to do. And then I'll tell like my husband and he's like, Like, that's fine. Like, we'll get that done by 1 p.m. And I was like, oh, you're right. Like, it just kind of like takes me out of like the over like compensating in my brain. And then it kind of rationalizes it for me. Like, okay, it's not as big as I thought it was. Like, it's usually so much bigger in our brain and in our body than it really is.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, Leslie, because like I find that like when we're gonna do a new project, like when we were like, oh, let's do the podcast, I get so overwhelmed with like all the details of everything that goes into it, and having those people in our lives that speak truth to us, that, like just take one step at a time, you know. Or when we wanted to start Eden, and I was like, we have to buy a building, you know, and I was like, start with one office, like we'll be okay.
Oh, yeah, that works.
That's you know?
Yeah, having the people in our lives that help us to slow down. I think one common theme between all of the exercises is slowing down and just taking a moment to separate from emotional experience.
I've heard of it almost like internal voice auditor. So when you say it out loud to someone, the person's like, actually, like, this is reality versus what's ever going on in your head that can feel like amplified or really intensified and magnified because of the emotional response that we're having to stress. So when you say it out loud to someone, they're like, actually, it's better than you think. Yeah. Like, it's okay.
That reminds me, I read this book, which is phenomenal. And I think it like changed the way that I saw like just how you operate in life. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It literally talked about so good. I recommend to everybody. But he literally made it a point to just talk about like Jesus was never in a hurry. Like he didn't wake up today like, oh my God, I have to go save all these people and heal all these people. No, like everything was like slow and intentional, and there was no sense of like stress, right? Because he was again like so intentional and calming with everything that he did, like every step that he took.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with like presence, like what Marianne was saying. He was just obviously very connected to the Father and just very present. I mean, it speaks to the human condition from all time that people around him are always like, you need to get to the next home, you need to do the next home. He was just like, relax. Like, we're getting there.
We'll get there when we get there. I was also thinking of eating disorder recovery, but it really could be of any kind of recovery. Remembering to take things one step at a time in that kind of language is usually, it says just take the next right step. So quitting restriction or binging or a substance can feel really overwhelming if you haven't done the work yet, right? And so if you just take the next right step, right? Just take the next meal and just eat that meal and don't focus on the other ones that you have that day. And that also can help calm the stress of like thinking, I have to be perfect and I have to get to this place.
Yeah, it's good.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Any last minute thoughts, people, on stress?
No.
So we just want to make sure that you know that you are not bad at handling stress. You just have a pattern. Right? And if we notice our pattern, what can we do?
Change them.
So that we can get to the place where we're responding and not reacting to whatever triggers are coming in. That's activating our nervous system and our childhood stress responses. And we all can just take a deep breath and slow
enjoy the journey, not the destination.
No matter the age, no matter what point in time you are in your life, this is possible for you. You can change the patterns that you've been living with for a while. It just takes time and intentionality. So
I love that. I would say just start actively today saying, where do I feel pressure in my life? And just start with the awareness of, this is my stress.
It's a good check in with yourself.
It's great. All right. So thank you for sitting with us at Eden's Table.
We'll see you next time.
And if you like our episode, please
don't forget to follow, subscribe,
and like,
comment, do all the things,
or else.
And maybe share with somebody who may benefit from the Stress Personality.
That's right.
Podcast.
Bye. Bye.
Till next time.
Well, friends, thank you for tuning in. And remember, freedom is possible. Join us next time at Eden's Table, where you can always sit with us.